Good day, I'm Nancy Zikeldi Civic Mudo, and today we're going to talk about engineering ethics, Gilligan's theory about moral development. But before we proceed to the discussion proper, let me leave you a question first. If you have a dying spouse and you have no financial capability to afford his or her treatment, how far are you willing to go in trying to save him or her? Carl Gilligan, a psychological theorist, was born on November 28, 1936 in New York City. She pursued her doctorate degree in social psychology from the Harvard University. Gilligan was a research assistant for Lawrence Kohlberg, but she eventually became independent and criticized some of his theories. But before we proceed to her theory about moral development, it was stated that she criticized some of Kohlberg's theories, such as his theory about moral development. She stated that Kohlberg's theories are biased upon the male thinking process. According to Gilligan, Kohlberg seemed to have studied only privileged men and boys. She believed that women face a lot of psychological challenges and they are not moral widgets. The women's point of view on moral development involves caring, which shows its effect on human relationship. To understand, let's recall Lawrence Kohlberg's theory. Lawrence Kohlberg's theory. He postulated this theory based on the thinking of younger children throughout their growing period as adults. He conveyed that younger children make judgment based on the consequences that may occur, and the older children make judgment based on their intuitions. He believed that there are 6 stages of moral development, which are further classified into 3 levels. To study moral development, Kohlberg posed a moral dilemma to children, teenagers, and adults: the Heinz Dilemma. Heinz's wife was suffering from a type of cancer and was fast approaching mortality. Around that time, a local druggist had discovered a kind of radium-based drug, which was touted by doctors as the only cure. However, this druggist intended to make as much money as he could by selling the drug at a price of $2,000, which was 10 times the cost of manufacturing it. Heinz went to everyone he knew to borrow money. However, he could only manage to get $1,000, which was half of what the druggist had charged. Though Heinz pleaded a lot, the greedy drug seller refused to sell the drug at a low cost. Now Heinz had no other option but to steal the drug from the shop, to save the life of his wife. Should Heinz steal the drug or not? Kohlberg did not care whether the individual said yes or no, but rather he cared about their reasoning. Based on their reasoning, individuals were categorized into one of 3 levels of moral development. Pre-conventional level. Stage 1. Obedience and punishment. Their behavior is driven by avoiding punishment. They might answer that they will not steal the drug because they might be punished. Stage 2. Individual interest. On this stage, the recipient may answer, if it feels good, do it. Their behavior is driven by self-interest and rewards. They may answer that they might steal the drug because he wants to save his wife. Conventional level. Stage 3. Interpersonal. Getting people to like them. Their behavior is driven by social approval. He may not steal the drug because people know stealing is bad and people might look down on him for stealing it. Or he may steal the drug because if he let his wife die, people might look down on him as well. Stage 4. Authority. Do your duty. Behavior is driven by obeying authority and conforming to norms. He won't steal the drug because it's against the law. Post-conventional level. Stage 5. Social contract. Behavior is driven by balance of social order and individual rights. Stage 6. Universal ethics. Their behavior is driven by internal moral principle. Although research has supported Kohlberg's idea, some criticize his theory. Perhaps the most important critique of Kohlberg's theory is that it may describe the moral development of boys better than it describes that of girls. Because of the differences in their socialization, males tend to value principles of justice and rights, whereas female values are caring for and helping others. Although there are little evidence that boys and girls score differently on Kohlberg's stages of moral development, it is true that girls and women tend to focus more on issues of caring, helping, and connecting with others than do boys and men. Now that we knew as what Gilligan said flaw on his theory, we can now proceed to her own theory about moral development. Gilligan's theory. Gilligan's moral reasoning model parallels Kohlberg's by hypothesizing 3 levels of moral development. The moral development in Gilligan's theory are based on pro-social behavior such as altruism, caring and helping, and the traits such as honesty, fairness, and respect. In order to understand Gilligan's theory, a popular example is usually considered. A group of moles give a shelter to a porcupine, but they are being continuously stabbed by the porcupine's quill. Now, what should they do? On pre-conventional level, A person in this stage cares for oneself to ensure survival. Though the person's attitude is selfish, this is a transition phase where the person finds the connection between oneself and others. Pre-conventional level is the most basic kind of caring in survival orientation, in which a person is concerned primarily with his or her own welfare. Going back to her example, in the pre-conventional level of thinking states that to think for the good of oneself, either the mole or the porcupine can only live in the burrow, the other has to leave the place. Conventional. In this stage, the person feels responsible and shows care towards other people. Carl Gilligan believed that this moral thinking can be identified in the role of a mother and a wife. This sometimes leads to the ignorance of the self. A more subtle moral position is caring for others, in which a person is concerned about others' happiness and welfare, and about reconciling or integrating others' needs where they conflict with each other. According to the conventional level of thinking, which brings a transition from self to others, in which might even lead to sacrifice, either the moles or the porcupine has to sacrifice, and again, this leads to the stage where the moles or the porcupine can live in the burrow. Post-conventional. This is a stage where the principle of care for self as well as for others is accepted. However, a section of people may never reach this level. The most developed form of moral caring in Gilligan's model is integrated caring, the coordination of personal needs and values with those of others. Now, the morally good choice takes account of everyone, including yourself. According to the post-conventional level of thinking, which states that the good of both parties has to be considered, both the moles and the porcupine came to an agreement that both will have separate places in the same burrow, where they limit to behave themselves and they will not cause any trouble to each other. This helped both of them to live in the same place with peace. According to Carl Gilligan's theory of moral development, changes occur due to the change of self rather than the critical thinking. It was stated that the post-conventional level of Kohlberg is not attained by women, but Carl Gilligan researched and found out that the post-conventional level of thinking is not being easy for women to go through because they care for relationships. Carl Gilligan states that the post-conventional level of moral thinking can be dealt based on the two types of thinking. Gilligan's theory is based on the two main ideas, the care-based morality, usually found in women, and the justice-based morality, usually found in men. The famous science dilemma was also used by Gilligan in the case study involving two children named Jake and Amy. The question asked to them was, should the husband named Heinz steal the drug or see his wife dying without the medicine? Jake gave a straightforward answer. Heinz should steal the medicine to save his wife. He argued that the value of human life is far more than that of the medicine. Jake's answer was clearly based upon rationality. He even challenged the law against stealing as an obstacle in the way of saving his wife. Amy's answer to the same question put her on full stage lower than of Jake's, as per Kohlberg's criteria. Amy's answer was unsure. She claimed that a man should not steal the drug, but at the same time, his wife also should not die. Her argument was, if the man got caught while stealing would be jailed, and then there would be no one to take care of his ailing wife. She even emphasized that Heinz should borrow money, negotiate on the price to arrange for the medicine. Gilligan's argued that the difference in opinion between Jake and Amy is due to the fact that Amy, unlike Jake, does not see the problem through the prism of rationality, rather care and love. Gilligan tried to show that the gender differences is on how character and behavior of both genders are different. This was true care-based and justice-based morality, whereas she stated that the care-based morality is found mostly on girls and the latter found mostly on boys. Care-based morality. Care-based morality is the kind of thinking found in women. This is based upon the following principle. More emphasis is given interconnected relationships and universality. Acting justly focuses on avoidance of violence. Women with this are usually interested in helping others. Respect and dignity. Linked to emotions and feelings. Maintenance of harmony and relation. She reasoned that these are more common to girls because of their connection to their mothers. And because they remain connected to their mothers, they are less inclined to worry about issues of fairness. Justice-based morality. Justice-based morality is the kind of thinking found in men. This is based on the following principles. Acting justly means avoiding inequality, avoidance of discrimination, duties and obligation, rational decision-making, impartiality. thought to be more common in boys because of their need to differentiate between themselves and their mothers. Consensus versus controversy. The moral judgment may lead to conflicts if they are not delivered properly without hurting the feelings of the persons involved. There are two stages after the judgment. Consensus. This is the state where people came into agreement with the judgment given by getting convinced with the moral reasons. This will leave the persons with the feeling that justice has been done. The verdict may favor any party. Consensus only means that there is no decision made against the will of an individual or minority. If significant concerns remain unresolved, a proposal can be blocked and prevented from going ahead. This means that the whole group has to work hard at finding solutions that address everyone's concerns rather than ignoring or overruling the minority opinions. Controversy. This is a state where the persons involved in an issue are not satisfied with the verdict and might feel that it was decided on a partial interest. This will lead the people with a sense of dissatisfaction, that the justice was not done, which may lead to another conflict. Controversy, on the other hand, simply means that there is a disagreement. The judgment that has been made favors only one side and leaves the others dissatisfied. And that's it for today's lesson. Thank you for listening.